Alright, so we're back here. This is part 3 of this little mini series on how to create take a video of a palm tree and turn this into an asset that you can use as an animated asset, as an animated sequence, with the background turned transparent. So there's a couple of more things we can do here before we actually turn this into such an asset with the background being transparent. One thing is we may want to crop away the foreground trees here. So we could do that, for instance, with the custom selection here, the rectangle selection, rectangle to alpha. Perhaps zoom into that a little bit, get rid of the border. So you see the magic wand here with the marching ants. If I show the selection as overlay, you'll see that in this colored way. And we can go and turn this off, don't need it really. But then most importantly, we can go and crop to that selection. Right, so let's do that. That will crop not just this image, but the entire image sequence underneath it. All frames that are in that video are being cropped. So that's already better. You might want to rotate it too, so let's go and do that. Let's go rotate it. Maybe it's too early, maybe we can do that later, but hey, why not? Let's see what that does. Rotate clockwise, and it rotates again, not just this one frame, but the entire frame sequence, as you can tell here at the top. So this is still a very large image sequence. I think we have 400 and something frames. Again, for the sake of exercise, maybe I'll make it a bit smaller. In fact, what I'll do is I'll do a time stretch, a reverse time stretch. I'll right-click on this here. I'll go to animation, frames, and that's the same menu here, and that same menu as if you click on the timeline here. And what I'll do is I'll go to time stretch, and so with time stretch, you can essentially say you want half of that number of frame. You currently have 419. I'm going to get half of that. In fact, you can even say less than that. Let's say you want 150, right? And you want the frames to be blended. You want them to be blending from one frame to another. That's not always the desired solution. That's not always the best solution. You might want to instead just drop the ones that you're kicking out, right? So you may not want to blend through these. But occasionally you'll try that and you'll find that to be better. So we'll do that in this case, and we will we will lose the camera stabilization that we had during the motion prediction module. Right? Keep in mind that the motion prediction module is remembering the camera movement so that it can actually stabilize or restore it. And that's the stabilizer, and that's okay. In this case, we will want to retime it. Perhaps we can use that to actually hold on to it and restabilize it later on. Probably not though, because it turned out to be somewhat unusable. So what we'll do is we'll do let's see, Control D to clear the selection. So now we have a much shorter selection, right? And let's say this is the one we want to keep. And we want to keep it looping so that it's not going to so we can actually put it into an animation somewhere, maybe slap it on a billboard polygon, and it keeps waving without a jump. It keeps flying in the wind. It keeps waving in the wind without a jump to do that. So what we can do is we can go to animation and let's see here on the frames and make it loopable. And the way that you make it loopable is that you make a sacrifice here. You say, okay, I have 150 frames going from 0 to 149. I'm going to sacrifice a few of them and blend those last 10 or 20 frames over to the first 10 or 20 frames. And so essentially we cut them out, but they get recycled into the top at the beginning. So we get a little bit of a blend. And now here's where it's really nasty, because you see that transition. That's not a good transition, because the tree was just too much in a different position. Again, I did not stabilize it, so it's a little bit off. And that's where you would need much better footage to really work with this in a clean way. I'm just showing you the process here with technique. I'm not claiming that I have good footage to actually do so. But what you would do basically now with that is you would have created a looping texture that can be placed onto a billboard polygon and keep rotating or keep animating through a much longer frame sequence. This one here, if we played at 30 frames a second, let's go FPS, frames per second at 30. If we play it like that and we have 130 or so frames, we know that's going to take about 4.5 seconds to play through it. And that's all it will take. So what we could do now is essentially say, well, how do we turn this into an animation in which the background is transparent? And I'll do that in the next and probably final video. So hang on to this. We'll be coming back with more details in a second.